So really, ain't nothing in this integration. I need some land. I need some jobs. My people need jobs. We need something so we can build and do for ourselves, and we must have some land. Now, what's your suggestion? What should be my movement? Integrate?
Yeah, equal rights in a mixed society.
In this society, where you still own the government, you still own the train station, the railroad plant, the lecture plant, these television cameras, you still make all the food, you control everything, and I'm like a leech on a dog's back. All I can do is just wait for you. I can't do nothing for myself. Integrating in your society don't mean I'm doing nothing for myself. You doing it all. I want to do something for myself. I'm tired of depending on you. You might get broke one day. Your stores might close. Your gas pumps might cut off again. I'm relying on you now. Can I have my own land?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time it is you're watching this. I am Brian HRap B. Williams. Thank you for tapping in. This is 15 minutes with HRap. Thank you again. Hit that like, hit that share. I need you to do that. It is important. Comment once the show is over. That helps as well. Thank you. If you haven't already subscribed, this would also be simulcast on www.theendofthebench.com. That is www.theendofthebench.com. It is there. It is waiting on you. It is live and direct. Thank you. It is important that you do that because it really helps me move everything forward. And again, www.theendofthebench.com right there. It's on the screen. And as I do every week, hello, thank you for the support. It's on the screen now. I don't thank my parents. That's Dolores and John. I do that every show because without them, there's no me. Without me, there's no program, so forth and so on. I want to thank you again, first and foremost. Happy Kwanzaa, Ujima, which means unity. And it's a perfect day to even be at the beginning of Kwanzaa. I didn't set it up that way. It just happened to fall that way. Now, with that, I want to talk about the world of entertainment, the world of sports, and the means in which we keep things alive and we don't even get credit for it. What I'm talking about is this. Over the last few days, we watched a ton of football. We had Beyonce, we had Mariah Carey, you have multiple, basically hundreds of multi-talented, exciting, talented athletes and entertainers from our community making everybody money, on the supreme amount of money, but us. We are the show and show business. It's time for us to get into the business. What spurred this is congratulations to Michael Vick, another brother who's gone to an HBCU and being coaching and influencing the young men from our community and making them feel relevant. This is something that I spoke about 20 years ago. And I'm being 100% honest with you. I am not engaging in hyperbole whatsoever. I'm not adding on a year or two. 20 years ago, I made this statement. The statement that I made was this. At some point, we are going to have to step into the arena and stop asking for jobs and create jobs. When you have people like Corliss, Big Nasty Williams, Sam Cassell, Mark Jackson, Patrick Ewing, Tree Rollins, Keith Atkins, the list is on in football, Joey Porter, Leslie Frazier, and Eric Bieniemy, and a myriad of other former athletes who are helping people win Super Bowls, helping win people conference finals, helping people win divisions, and they're being passed over for jobs. At some point, people, we're going to have to stop sitting at somebody else's table begging for crumbs. And I've been saying that for 20 years now. And people literally, and I'm not exaggerating, one of my closest and most dearest friends told me, man, you sound crazy. Other people told me, hey, man, people want to do what they want to go into big time college football, big time college. Nah, but what it is if I am the most entertaining person here and I bring the eyeballs to the television, I'm big time. And that's what we need to realize as a community. We are big time. Nobody else is the big time. Look, if you look throughout history, no matter where you are, we were the center of attention. 100 years ago, you had Count Basie, you had Dizzy Gillespie, you had my man Miles Davis, you had all sorts of Little Richard and rock, and with the birth of rock and roll, you had a million people trying to be like us, all forms of jazz, all forms of big band, all for him. Sammy Davis Jr. and his crew, him and his dad and his brother. Everybody was trying to do it like us. You move to the 60s, then you had Motown. If you wanted to be an artist in the 60s and the 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s, you signed up with Motown. Honestly, brother, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, The Temptations. So the list is endless. The Jackson 5s, the Jacksons, and so forth and so on. That's where you went. Move to the 80s, you have Def Jam. You had Def Jam, Sleeping Bag Records, and Def Jam in the 80s. You had Ruthless Records. You go to the South, you had Luke, and then you had Jay Prince out of Texas. These people looked at what we had, saw what we were doing, what we wanted to do, and then bam. Even as you matriculate to the 90s, you had Bad Boy, you had Rockefeller, you had Murder Inc. So no matter where it was, we were the hottest thing out. We needed distribution, which still baffles me, but that's not the point. In sports, we've never taken that step forward. We've never taken that step forward to dominate things. Do you honestly believe if Sam Cassell and those other NBA guys who are sitting on benches in the NBA, learning the game, learning to coach, learning something from some of the better minds in the league, if they took that down to Norfolk State, if they took down that to Winston-Salem State, if they took that to Grambling, if they took that to Southern, do you really believe you could walk into somebody's house as an 18-year-old person with your parents being 45, 50 years old, and one of their favorite players like Joey Porter, Michael Vick walks in the room, and you wouldn't send your child there? The only reason you send your child to Coach K, you ain't sending your child to Coach K for that Duke education, even though that is a major benefit. You want to send your child to Notre Dame for the major benefits of being a Notre Dame alumnus. You wanted Lou Holtz to get you to the national championship game, put eyes on your child, and then bam, it works. Even Justin Tuck, who works for Morgan Stanley right now, he even said when he got there, they told him, we will make a 40-year commitment to you. We have to create that vacuum of knowledge, wealth, entertainment, and connections inside of our own community. Do you understand some of the greatest football players in the history of the game, some of the greatest basketball players in the history of the game come from HBCUs? Why are we shying away from? Why are we sitting at the NBA table begging for a job when Michael Vick, without any experience, just got a job at Norfolk State? All he has to do is get a bunch of his teammates who were astute, who paid attention in practice, who worked their behinds off, and he knows that they know what it takes, and then bam, Norfolk State could be a duplicate of what Coach Prime did. We have the tools. We need to realize what those tools are, and then exercise our mental capabilities and take over the institutions and rule, and they will rule the day that they didn't allow us to do this. What I'm going to do now is show you a video of a brother by the name of Rube Foster, who was the pioneer for one of the greatest businesses in American history. It's called the Negro League. What I want you to do, y'all already know, I'll show you a piece of the video. You go to www.theendofthebench.com. Here it is. This is where I want you to go, and you watch it in its entirety. Or you can go to YouTube and watch One Mic History. Country Boy is the host, and you can check him out there. But you'll be doing both of us a favor. You go to www.theendofthebench.com, watch the video. He gets credit for the watch. I get credit for the visit. And then with one hand washing the other, both hands washes the face. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to show this video, and I'll be back briefly, and then I can continue the program.
The black ball was in danger of being defined by its white owners, so he decided to play a more active role in the game's future. At the time, the Leland Giants were whipping up on the competition in the Chicago City League and on tours, but they were losing money. Leland was not Nathaniel Strong, and rather than driving up the team's cut to extortion levels, Leland allowed opponents to collect almost as much of the profits as he did. So Frank Leland would bring in Rube Foster to Chicago, but Rube Foster only agreed to join the team on one condition: he could pitch and take charge of the booking and as manager. As both pitcher and manager, he guided the team to a 110-10 record, but his once cinder block frame had turned soft and round, and he was only capable of sporadic starts. But his style as a manager was no different than his style as a player: very aggressive and intimidating. He was an innovative strategist, and his team popularized the hit and run, the drag bunt, the double steal, and the suicide squeeze, and what he called the bunt and run. It was an advancing runner from first to third and with a surprise bunt. One game, as the story goes, his Giants were down 18-0 against the Indianapolis ABCs, and in the 8th inning, Foster signaled for 11 bunts in a row. Opposing fielders were so confused that they couldn't get anybody out that the Giants went on to hit 2 grand slams and tied the score before the game was called on the count of darkness. As a booker, Foster was able to turn the Leland Giants around, receiving 40% of the gates, reaping around $500, up from $140 they had been collecting during Leland's booking days. At the same time, ticket prices rose to major league levels to 50 cents for the grandstand seating. Foster was not happy with just being a player and a manager of the Giants. He wanted to dominate the business of black baseball. So in 1909, Rube would inform Frank Leland that he wanted him to recuse himself from all facets of the business operation of the Leland Giants. Thus became a battle of wills between Foster and Leland. Foster reportedly faked an injury to stay out of the lineup as a message to Leland. The point for Rube in any endeavor was to always come out ahead. And in October, he gave Leland an ultimatum. Either you go or I go, and I form my own Leland Giant team. Leland held firm, and so did Foster. But before Rube quit, he carefully laid plans to take 2 of Leland's most valuable money men, Major R. Jackson and the attorney Beauregard Mosley. Knowing that he had been outmaneuvered, Leland filed a lawsuit to stop Foster from forming any team under Leland's name. Rube would countersue, claiming that he had every right to use the name as he so pleased. And a strange verdict of the lawsuit, the courts gave Foster exclusive rights to the name Leland Giants, but gave Frank Leland exclusive rights to Chicago's Auburn Park, and enjoined Foster from taking any of Leland's players. In the aftermath, after this strange decision, Foster and Major Jackson created their own version of the Leland Giants, while Leland and his suddenly no-name team changed their name to the Chicago Giants. Foster started to raid Eastern black baseball teams of their best players. Foster would warn black ball clubs that they better start preparation to cleanse black baseball of its racial impurities. And Foster may as well have been looking directly at Nathaniel Strong.
As you see and you heard, this is a man 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. This is pre-World War I, when he said, look, we need to take over our own entities. And this is what we need to do at HBCUs. If you are a sportsman, I implore you to go to Norfolk State's website and buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, do something, buy a sweatshirt. The reason I want you to do that is to show the world, if we get behind Norfolk State, that stadium will be full because of one Michael Vick. We are going to keep our eyes on it because we love Michael Vick, and then we can continue to proliferate through the HBCU round, and we can create our own big-time college football. And then when the Heritage Bowl comes around in 2025, we bomb Atlanta, we fill the stadium, and we show the world that we no longer need anybody. This is our opportunity, people. We no longer have to have people holding our hands and walking us through stuff and things of this nature. Look, we love Coach Prime, and Coach Prime can be the big-time football Eddie Robinson. They are consistently attempting to get him to leave Colorado because they see the footprint that he is leaving in big-time college football. They have avoided us. You already know in the next couple of weeks, it's going to be what's called Black Monday, the end of the football season, and a bunch of coaches will lose their jobs, and then it'll be this fake conversation about why can't black coaches get jobs? We don't have to ask that question anymore. There are a ton of former NBA players. You telling me if Patrick Ewing walked into your house, Mark Jackson walked into your house, and Sam Cassell walked into your house and said, hey, we want your child to go to Grambling. We want your child to go to Winston-Salem State. We want your child to go to wherever they are. And then hopefully, this is just a hope. Maybe they'll put some money behind the athletic department and make it look better. And then they can grow it, and they could be the big house games. They could be the Eddie Robinson of HBCUs and 2K. And then this is why they always want you to, hey, you know what? We can send Prime to Dallas. No, we don't want to send Prime to Dallas. We want Prime right there. Ironically, the Colorado Buffaloes and the Grambling Tigers had the exact same colors. Ironically, right? This is what we need to do. We need to get behind him. And Prime, I pray that you never leave. I want you to stay there and make your foot blaze your trail. Have people from the NFL leaving NFL jobs, playing under Bill Belichick, coaching under Bill Belichick, coaching under these big time coaches, the Andy Reeds, the Eric Bieniemys, and go to Prime and have him and Prime get together and make it pop. And then you go get you another job, not even at a quote unquote Power 5 team. Because if it's 60 million of us, if we got behind the HBCUs, the SWAC and the I always forget the MEAC, the SWAC and the MEAC, guess what? We wouldn't need big time college football because all eyes are be on us. Imagine if the Fab Five would have gone to an HBCU. Wow. Coach Prime is showing you what will happen there. And then you have people like Kurt Herbstreit and these other guys and Nick Fowler on TV. They're throwing subtle jabs. All Stephen A. Smith said was what Ohio State University need to do is get Coach Prime because he wants to move Coach Prime into the big time. No, Stephen A. As usual, I believe you. I disagree with you. But you had a right to your opinion. You don't want to move to a job like, you don't want to move to a job like Ohio State. In my personal opinion, college coaches are hired to become legends. You can't become a legend at Ohio State. You cannot become a legend at UCLA in basketball, Ohio State in football. You can't become a legend unless you do something extraordinary at Alabama. The reason you can't is because they already have these ridiculous standards at these institutions. Alabama football, USC football, UCLA basketball, Kentucky basketball, where if you're not winning every year, it's a problem. Coach Prime, this is what I believe you need to do. Stay there, become the Eddie Robinson of Power 5 football. And then you got other people like Michael Vick and others that go into HBCUs, and we dominate football in its totality. Who are more popular in regards to coaching than Michael Vick and Coach Prime? Michael Vick was electric on the field. Everybody loved, and everybody in the community and the culture loves Vick. So we'll send our children to Vick because we see he's a stand-up guy. We love Coach Prime for the same reason. He's electric. He has personality. He has pizzazz. And he's putting people in the pros. And guess what? Here's the best thing. We have two men who understand that this is not for everybody. Everybody on these teams are not going to the pros. This is not going to be a situation like the University of Miami, where in the first 2 rounds you get 16, 17, 20 guys get drafted. No, we're not even going to worry about that. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to teach our young men, make them academically sound, make them socially sound, and then they can have a future outside of this game. Because even in most cases, if you make it to the league, you're only going to be there 3-4 years. So what are you going to do for the next 26 years of your life? You don't know. The next 50 years of your life, you don't know. So what we need to do is prepare young men for success in the community. Again, remember, we're not going to ask our children, what are you going to do when you grow up? We're going to ask them, what are you going to do for the community when you grow up? That way we build a community of people, of forward-thinking young men and women who understand how to reach back like a Teddy Bridgewater, like a Michael Vick, like a Coach Prime, and other coaches, Eddie George, and other coaches that are raising young men to be successful young men, not just to be ball players and then at some point be a bouncer or something of that nature. Folks, this is what we need to do. I'm telling you. This is what we need to do. Please share this episode. Tap in, hit like, hit share. It is important. Say hello in the comments after the episode is ended. Thank you. As always, I will see you tomorrow on Black Friday, where we're going to celebrate Black enterprise. Go support Black enterprise and do everything we can to continue to uplift each other. 2 fingers, 1 word. I'm HRap B, and this is 15 Minutes with HRap, and I'm.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why